فبسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أفضل المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. وبعد. All praise and all thanks be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we gather in the masjid on this Friday night to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open my heart and your heart to understand and act upon what we are taught from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. وبعد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran telling and reminding us about the nature of this life, about the nature of the journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in a very famous verse that most of us know, most of us even quote, most of us memorized, about the true reality of this life, about what to expect. When He says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون ولقد فتنا الذين من قبلهم فليعلمن الله الذين صدقوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. Translation. Do people really think that they're going to say we believe and they are going to be left untested? And surely we have tested the people that believed before them, so that it becomes manifest, it becomes known, it becomes obvious. Those who were true, those who were truthful in their claim from those who were untrue, those who lie. When we hear this verse, oftentimes, what does it mean? Oh, it's the concept of test. Life is a test. And many of us, when we hear this, we start having questions like, what does it mean? It means I'm going to be tested. It means calamities. It means affliction. It means tribulation. And we start to ask, how will I be patient? Can I be patient? I start to be afraid. Allah's telling me, Allah's informing me, I'm going to be tested. Calamities is expected. Can I be patient? And many of us ask the question differently. Sometimes the question is asked, why am I not patient? Calamities happen, and sometimes an affliction would happen to one of us. And we would tell the brother, be patient. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran tells us, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, isbiru wa sabiru. Oh, you believe? It's a commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Have patience. And He says, I know, but I can't. I can't be patient. I know the verses, but when it comes to affliction, I fail. I cannot be patient. Why am I not patient is the question. It's a question of a believer. When he looks at this verse, his concern is not the test. His concern is his performance in the test. Will I be patient? And then, when I can't be patient, what should I do? Why am I not patient? How can I be patient? That's the question we want to address today, really. And some people say, okay, I understand, maybe I'm bad. But when calamities start to happen, sometimes it's, I'm bad, but what about my kid? 3 years old, 4 years old, Ya Allah, why? Why my kid? Why did that happen to him? He did nothing. And then it becomes so much, and people start, why are those things happening? Why is this world full of suffering? Why do bad things happen to good people? And some people take this a step further. We see that in the society around us. When some people become atheists, they say, you know what, I don't believe in God anymore. Why? Look at how much suffering there exists in this world. If there is a God, why do bad things? Aren't you the most merciful? Aren't you the most compassionate? Why? Why does this happen? And inshallah today I want to address this on both planes. The logical plane, as well as at the end of the lecture, a spiritual plane, an experiential plane, that I hope to share with you tonight at the end of this lecture, inshallah. And I started with the following. I started with a story. I started with a story that Ibn Qudam al-Maqdisi, a great scholar, a student of Ibn al-Jawzi and a student of Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, he has a book called 100 Stories of People That Repented. And that is a story there. And the story is about a person called Malik ibn Dinar, later to become one of the most righteous people. But Malik ibn Dinar, he says, I started my life and he's a Muslim. But he said, I was very far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I did everything wrong. There is not a mistake, there is not a sin except that I did. As a matter of fact, I used to get drunk. He used to drink wine and get drunk. And he said, I continued my life that way. You know, having fun, entertainment, and I'm living. He's saying, La ilaha illallah, but that's my life. Till one day I saw a little girl, 3, 4 years old, and he said something changed in my heart. I looked at this girl, she was so cute, she was so nice. And I said, I want a girl like that. Why don't I go and get married? And he went and he said, indeed, I got married. And when I got married, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with His bounties, with all what I'm doing, He granted me a daughter. And some say He named her Fatima. And he says, when Fatima was growing up, I started to change. I'm becoming a father. I loved her so much. And my love for her started to change me. I started to become a better person. I'm a father now. I can't be doing what I'm doing. And he said, even one night, I was drinking, as I used to do, drinking intoxicants, khamr. As I'm drinking, she came, sat in my lap, and then she pushed the drink away. When she did that, I said, that's it. I'm done. I can't drink anymore. I'm a father, look at her. And I started to stop going for intoxicants, no more drinking. And he said, my life started to change gradually. I started to pray maybe a little bit. I started to improve. He said, light entered my life. And I started to have hope. But surely enough, one day, my daughter fell sick. And I became very worried. This is the light of my life. This is the one that I love. Please, Ya Allah, she's sick. And she gets sicker. And she gets sicker. And he became so worried. And surely enough, he says, she became so sick. And then she died. And when my daughter, a 3 years old die, a 4 years old die, the people who pass through this, it is a calamity. And he said, I couldn't take it. I could not bear this. I could not be patient over her loss. Ya Allah, that was the light in my life. She was all my hope. I loved her so much. I relapsed. I turned back worse than what I was. I started to go back. I started to drink even more. I relapsed completely. I couldn't take the pain. And he said, one night, I said, I'm going to drink tonight like I never did before. And I started to drink, until basically he zonked out. Completely drunk, and I zonked out. And he said, that night, I saw a dream. And in that dream, it was Judgment Day. And I was really scared. It's the Day of Judgment. And then all of a sudden, everybody was resurrected. And I saw everyone. The land is plain and everyone is resurrected. And I hear angels calling people by their name. And then one of the angels called my name. He said, Malik ibn Dinar, halumma lil-ard ala al-jabbar. Malik ibn Dinar, stand up. You're going to be displayed in front of the Almighty. God the Almighty. And he said, when I heard that, I was terrified. And then all of a sudden, all the people disappeared. And I was in this land, and I look and I find a huge snake. And that snake opening its mouth, heading directly to me. I was so terrified. It's a huge snake. I started to run. And that snake is after me. And I run, there is nowhere to go. And that snake is going to catch me. And I find an old man. I go to this old man and tell him, please, help me. Look, the snake, help me. And he says, I'm so weak. I'm so old, I can do nothing. And he said, I ran and came back again. And I found the same man and I told him, please, I beg of you, do something. This snake is after me, he's going to kill me. He said, I'm too weak. I'm too old. I can do nothing for you. But there is a hill over there. Run over there, you might find some help. And he said, I ran towards that hill. And when I came on top of that hill, I look and I find small children all over across that hill. One of them looks up to me and he knows who I am. And he calls my daughter, Fatima, help your father. And then I saw my daughter, my 3-4 years old daughter. She came running up to me and she stood between me and the snake. And as the snake comes, she puts her hand up to the snake, and the snake stops. And then she points to the snake, go back. And the snake leaves. He said, I was so terrified, so exhausted, I fell on the ground. And she came and she sat on my lap, the same way she used to do in the life of this world, in dunya. And I was so exhausted, I started to tell her, my daughter Fatima, what is going on? I don't understand what's going on here. And she told me, Father, didn't you know? Didn't you know that our deeds that we do in the life of this world comes in the hereafter in a physical form? And the Quran says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَوَجَدُوا مَا عَمِلُوا حَاضِرًا. On the Day of Judgment, I'll find what I'm doing present in front of me. And then she told him, that snake that you saw, that was your evil deeds. You made him so strong. You made him so powerful. You did so many of them. They were going to destroy you. As for that old man, that was your good deeds. You made him so weak. You did so few of them. And he couldn't help you. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw that, and he saw that you're going to destroy yourself, he took me away from you when I was young, lest you be patient over my loss. And by your patience over my loss, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives your sins and admits you to Jannah. And then she told him, Father, isn't it time? أَلَمْ يَئِنْ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبُهُمْ لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَلِمَا نَزَلَ مِنَ الْحَقِّ. Isn't the verse in the Quran, isn't it time for those who believe that their heart yearn and tremble and have khushu' and oh for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, isn't it time? And what has been revealed to it? And Malik ibn Dinar said, I started to say, it's time, it's time, it's time. And he said, I woke up crying, saying, it's time, it's time. And it was Fajr time. I made wudu, I ran to the masjid to find Salat al-Fajr. And the Imam is reciting, أَلَمْ يَئِنْ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبُهُمْ إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. And he said, that day Malik ibn Dinar changed 180 degrees. Malik ibn Dinar became one of the most righteous tabi'een. He is the one later on in life that used to say, poor are the people of this world. They came out of the life of this world and they didn't taste the sweetest thing in it. What is the sweetest thing in it? The remembrance of Allah and His obedience. Malik ibn Dinar, life changed 180. Why am I saying this? What is the moral of this story? What happened? What is the lesson? What is that story about? Was it good or bad? He lost his daughter. Was it good for him or was it bad for him? Where is Malik ibn Dinar now? Where is his daughter now? Was it good or bad? The scholars say, رُبَّمَا أَعْطَاكَ فَمَنَعَكَ وَرُبَّمَا مَنَعَكَ فَأَعْطَاكَ. It might be that he gave you, but in reality he's depriving you. And it might be that he's depriving you, and in reality he is giving you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives sometimes by depriving. He gives in deprivation. And sometimes when I see things that I like coming my way and I say, hey, life is good. And sometimes it is a punishment. How can I tell? We're going to talk about that. How can I tell when an affliction happens in my life? Is it Allah's angry at me? Is it what? We'll speak about that. But the moral of the story, Malik ibn Dinar at one point of his life, he says, I couldn't be patient. It's impossible. Why? One dream, not only is he patient, he changed. Why? What made him patient? Many things. One most important thing, the first lesson we want to learn today. This dream is about what? This dream is about the hereafter. The concept of the hereafter versus the life of this world. The reason we suffer, the reason we are in pain, the reason we cannot be patient, because we live life, this life, with a wrong premise. You know what a wrong premise is? You live life with a wrong expectation, with a wrong premise. And as such, when things happen, I'm shocked. We live life as if it's everlasting, as if it's not going to change. Alhamdulillah, I have my kids, I have my father, I have my mother, I have this, nothing, everything in this life is going to change. The first thing about this life that we need to learn, life is temporary. Life is transient. This is not my home. I'm just passing by. Life is a transient form. Life is transient, passing. Nuh alayhi salam in the hadith, in the hereafter, he's asked, Ya atwal al-anbiya umrah. Oh, the Prophet with the longest time span, 950 years, mashallah. More than 950 years. كيف وجدت الدنيا? How did you find the life of this world? And he says it was like a house with two doors. I entered from one and I came out from the other. This long life that we're living today is going to look like a dream. You know when you have a bad dream, it seems real. When I'm in it, it's really real and I'm in pain. But what happens when I wake up? It was just a dream. In the hereafter, this life is going to be the same way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hadith, the Prophet explains this and he says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, he gets a servant. That servant did not see any good day. His life was miserable. Everything is bad, calamity after calamity, miserable life. But he was obedient. He was obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes him and he dips him once in Jannah. You know, one dip. And he takes him out. And he tells him, Abdi, did you ever see a bad day? My servant, did you ever see a bad day? And he say, oh Allah, since you created me, I'm in bliss. I never saw a bad day. One dip in Jannah. One dip. And the life of this world seems like it didn't even exist. And vice versa. Allah gets a servant, his life easy, entertainment, happy, enjoying, partying, never saw anything bad. But he was away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dips him once in hellfire. Wal-'iyadhu billah. And then asks him, Abdi, did you ever see a good day? And he says, Ya Allah, since you created me, I'm in misery. I'm miserable. One dip in hellfire and one dip in Jannah. We lose focus of this. We live this life as if it's everlasting. We expect things to stay the way they are. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, كُلُّ شَيْءٍ هَالِكٍ إِلَّا وَجْهَهُ. Everything, thing, I am a thing. Feelings are things. Emotions are things. Sadness is thing. Happiness is a thing. Colors are things. Everything is going to perish. Except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not attach yourself to that that's going to perish. Don't expect it to be everlasting. When we do that, we suffer. We suffer when we expect from life that which it is not. And some people say, Ya Allah, why? Why did you do that? And Ibn Ata'illah Secondary explains it. Why Allah did this? Why did He, this life, why did He make it that way? And Ibn Ata'illah Secondary tells us about the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in saying, إنما جعلها محلا للأقدار ومعدنا للأغيار تزهيدا لك فيها أراد أن يزعجك عن كل شيء حتى لا يشغلك عنه شيء. He made it a place of calamities, affliction, things that spoil. Nothing is perfect here. He made it that way. He made it a place of things that change. Nothing is constant. He deliberately made it that way. Why? So that He can help you detach from it. He wanted to repulse you from everything, to disturb you from everything. So nothing would hold you back from seeking Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, look at us. The life of this world with the way it is, and we are killing ourselves after it. And when Allah saw that, and there is something bigger than this life. So He made everything in this life push us away. Everything perishes. You try to go to something and you try to seek shelter in it and calmness in it and tranquility in it, and this thing becomes the thing that causes you pain. Why? It's pushing you away. Go away. I'm not it. I have kids. My kids are going to die. I have my father and my mother. They're going to die. I have to live that way. That it's a transient life, not a permanent one. The second reason why we suffer, the second premise we have, we live life as if we own. Life is a trust. It is not mine. What do I mean? My body, my country, my house, my job, my intelligence, my family. You see the my. Do I own anything? This is a reality that we do not ponder. Nothing here is mine. I'm but a guest. You know when you go into someone's house and you're a guest, and he tells you sit here, what do you say? Hadr. Don't go to that room. I won't go into that room. Why? It's not my house. If I enter into someone's house and start, I don't like this masjid, let's paint it black. It's not your home. You're not free here. You are but a guest. And because Allah is so generous, because our host is so generous with us, and He gave us so much, we thought that we own it. And when He takes it back, we suffer. Like my kids. Sometimes, I love my kids. And because I love them so much, I sometimes, what do? You get them gifts. And I buy a big gift and I go to my son. Why? I want to give him the gift. But there is something bigger than the gift. My love. Look, I'm giving you a gift to show you what I love you. I give him the gift. What does he do oftentimes? He says thank you one time. And then give me the gift. And you give him the gift. He takes the gift, starts opening the gift. And what happens? Oh, he loves it so much. And he starts focusing on his gift. And he starts playing with his gift. And he forgets about me. I don't exist anymore for him. And he starts playing with it and he's so happy. And now I go and tell him, it's time to sleep. No, no, no. I want to play with my toy. Your toy? My toy. I want to play with my toy. Okay, it's time to go to school. No, I'm not going to go to school. Why? I want to play with my toy. Your toy? I brought you the toy. My toy. And I'm not going to go to school. Now when I see this, I love him. What will I do? You need to go to school. Give me back this toy. And I take the toy away. When I do this, what happens? He starts to scream. Why did you take my toy? Your toy? And then he says what? You took my toy. You're making me suffer. Why are you making me suffer? Bad person. You took my toy. You made me suffer. Therefore, you do not love me. I do not love you. Because I took your toy. I brought it in the first place. I don't. And then he goes further. You took my toy. You made me cry and suffer. What a miserable life. Because of you. Why did you do that? Therefore, you do not love me. Therefore, you are not my father. Isn't that what the atheist does? Why did you take my daughter? Why did you make me suffer? Why did you don't love me? Therefore, you do not exist. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. Nothing is mine. The way I behave in calamities is a reflection of the way I was behaving in the time of ease. When I'm not patient in the face of adversities, it means I wasn't thankful in the time of ease. We are veiled by the gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are veiled by the gift from the giver. Like this kid, I gave him the toy, but the toy masked him from seeing something bigger than the toy. My love. The toy is a representation that I love you. He couldn't see that. He could not see me. He was veiled. We see the toys of this life around us and then we think it's ours, mine. It's never going to go away. And when Allah sees that and they're holding us back, Allah, give it back to me. And wallahi, we do worse. We take Allah's gifts and we use it against Him. Why am I taking riba? Why am I getting interest? Unlawful interest. Why? Because Allah gave me money. Because Allah gave you money, you take interest. One of the sisters, Allah gave her beauty, mashallah. Now she thinks what? My hair, my body, right? My looks, my face. And because Allah made her beautiful, what does she do with it? How does she dress? What does she use that for? Are you disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His gift? And when He sees that, He takes it away. It's distracting you from the purpose of it. I'll give you a simpler example. Somebody, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala afflicts him and he loses his job. It happens nowadays, right? Somebody has a job for 10 years and alhamdulillah, because he has a job and because he's making so much money, is he doing dhikr? No. Is he coming to the masjid? No. He's busy. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after 10 years, and he thinks, khalas, I'm the CEO, it's my company. Lay off. He's laid off. I'm laid off. Oh, but you know what? I'll find another job. What happens? When I'm laid off, when a calamity afflicts me, how do we act? And look at this. This person would start doing what? Okay, let me go contact the people I know. Let me apply here. Let me do this. He starts relying on himself. And Allah makes it fail. And it fails. And then he says, okay, I'll talk to people. I know other people. They'll help me. So now when I fail, I go to people. And he goes, contacts this brother and that brother and this and that and that. And Allah makes it fail. No job, no job, no job. A calamity. And he's threatened now. How will I pay my rent? I don't have a job. What will I do? It is very difficult. There is no other alternative. And he comes to the masjid. And he says, Ya Allah, please. He made Allah the last. And look at that. He didn't start by Allah. Allah, when everything else failed, I don't have a job, I want a job. He starts coming to the masjid and one brother tells him, do you want provision? I can help you. I know something for you. What? And he says, the Prophet ﷺ informed us, من قال في اليوم 100 مرة لا إله إلا الله الحق المبين. Whoever says in his day, لا إله إلا الله الحق, the truth, المبين, the manifest. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him 4 things. One of them, وقي الفاقة. He would be protected from poverty. I want that. And then the second one, واستجلب به الرزق. He would attract with that his provision. You can attract your provision. Did you know that? If I lack in provision, I can attract provision to me by saying لا إله إلا الله الحق المبين 100 times every day. Now that brother does what? Really? Let me try it. Every day he's sitting in the masjid, لا إله إلا الله الحق المبين, لا إله إلا الله. Look what's going on. Did we say لا إله إلا الله today? Many of us, no. Why? You know the value of لا إله إلا الله? When Musa alayhi salam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a prophet, Ya Allah, teach me something to praise you with. You a special dhikr, a special dua for your prophet. Something really special. And Allah tells him, Ya Musa, قل لا إله إلا الله. Oh Musa, say لا إله إلا الله. Ya Allah, everybody says لا إله إلا Allah. I want something special. this is... And Allah says, Ya Musa, if لا إله إلا الله was to be placed on one side of the balance, and the heavens and the earth and all what's in it is to be placed on the other side, لا إله إلا الله will outweigh the heavens and the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave that person something. He took his job. He took it so he can give him something that is worth more than the heavens and the earth. And now, because he needs a job, what happens? Every day he's saying La ilaha illallah. And look at the continuation of the hadith. We said 4 things. The 2 other things are even more important. What are they? If you say La ilaha illallah al-haqq al-mubin 100 times, you're knocking on the doors of Jannah. And you are protected from the calamities and affliction of the grave. I need that. But you know what? Say La ilaha illallah al-haqq al-mubin. What happens? No, I'm busy. And when Allah sees that, and Allah wants to give me not only a job, He's going to get a job, but he's going to be protected in his grave. He's going to get Jannah. So Allah deprives to give. And sometimes we don't understand the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes them away. Now another important concept that follows this. The reason we suffer. You know why we suffer? You know why Malik ibn Dinar was patient? Very interesting. We suffer because we do not understand why we're tested. إنما يؤلمك المنع لعدم فهمك عن الله فيه. Deprivation, calamities causes pain. Why? Because I do not understand what Allah wants in it. إنما يعينهم على حمل الأحكام فتح باب الإفهام. What aids people to bear the afflictions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is when He opens the gates of understanding. What does that mean? Those are scholarly words that are very deep. I'll give you a practical example of what we mean. Did you ever have a tooth pain? May Allah protect us. Not a pleasant experience. The dentist. My tooth is hurting so much. It's painful. And what do? When my tooth is hurting so much, I go to the dentist, right? Because I understand he's a dentist. Imagine a person whose tooth is hurting and he doesn't know what a dentist is. He doesn't understand. He does not comprehend what a dentist do. And his tooth is hurting, so I come and tell him, go to that man over there, he's a dentist. And he doesn't know what a dentist is. Okay, I'll give it a try. And he goes to the dentist. The dentist tells him, sit here. He sits, open your mouth. You open your mouth. Which tooth is hurting? That one. Okay. And this person sees the dentist. The dentist gets what? The needle, He starts getting the needle. And the man is, what are you going to do with that needle? I'm going to put it in your mouth. Are you crazy? I'm telling you my teeth is hurting and my tooth is hurting and you want to put a needle in my mouth? Are you nuts? What are you doing? No, you need it. No, I don't. Yes, you need it. No, I don't. Open your mouth. No, don't do this. This is bad. And then he gives him the needle. And when he does, it hurts. So this man starts doing what? Screaming. You are crazy. What are you doing? This is very painful. Are you? Well, and he leaves. He leaves and he goes away. Starts now telling everyone, what a crazy man. Never go to that man. I told him my tooth is hurting and he put a needle in my mouth. He's crazy. This person failed to be patient. This person, as a result of that, will live his life in pain. Will never be cured. And worse, he'll live his life thinking that the dentist is cruel. The dentist is a criminal. Right? Never go to him. He's the worst person to go to. On the other hand, why do I go to the dentist? And when he tells me, open your mouth, I don't like it, do I? I don't want even to go there. But I go, open your mouth, harder. I see the needle. Okay. And he puts the needle, it hurts, but okay. And then he starts pulling my tooth. And I'm still patient. And the best part of it, when he pulls out my tooth, and it hurts, alhamdulillah, and then I tell him, thank you, doctor. You're thanking him for pulling out your tooth? Yes. Why? Because I understand what he's doing. I trust this doctor. I have confidence in what he's doing. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what's in that needle. But I trust he knows his job. I know him. Especially if I know that he cured 100 people before me. The fact that I see that he cured 100 people before me enables me. When he tells me open your mouth, I open my mouth. Take this medicine, I take this medicine. We do not know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, how can we trust him? When an affliction comes to our way, we see the affliction. We do not see the doctor. We do not know him. We claim we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not confident in him enough. We do not trust him enough. We lack understanding of what he's doing. And this veil makes it very hard for us to be patient over his decrees. And that is why, one reason why we're not patient. The first one we said what? Life is transient. The second, life is a trust. We have to live life that way. The third, life is a test. Life is a test. One time I told my kids this, 7 years old, and you know what, guys? Allah is going to test us. Life is a test. And you know what the response was? Very interesting. My kid said the following. He's going to test me? Yes. Why? That is so mean. He's so innocent, but it's correct. Why? Many of us don't understand. Why, Ya Allah? Why are you testing me? I understand. Why am I tested? And you know what? Our scholars spoke about that. Al-Izz ibn Abd Salam, a great scholar, and I have his book. It's over here. He wrote a book, and it's translated into English. And you know what's the title in English? The 17 benefits of trials and tribulation. It's the benefits. There are benefits in trials and tribulation. He speaks about 17 of them. That there are benefits in that. One of them, one that we might share a little bit. The Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us this in the Quran. وَلِيَبْتَلِيَ اللَّهُ مَا فِي صُدُورِكُمْ وَلِيُمَحِّصَ مَا فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ. The purpose of a test. The tests are directed to my heart. Why? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring out what's in my heart. What do you mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أَمْ حَسِبَ الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٍ أَلَّا يُخْرِجَ اللَّهُ أَضْغَانَهُمْ. Or those people whose heart had a disease thought that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to bring it out. What do you mean by that? Practical words that we can understand. When we have a disease, is it good to be sick? No. And when I'm sick, when my stomach is sick, pain. Is pain good? I don't like pain. But pain is telling me what? Something is wrong. Fix it. Pain is a message. Pain is informing me, look, there is something inside you're not aware of. Pain is a message. Stop what you're doing. Something is wrong. Look at it. Fix it. The worst type of disease is which disease? You know, may Allah protect us all. When somebody has cancer, the worst type of cancer is one that has no symptoms. There is no pain associated with it. Why? Because if there is no pain, I do not know I have it. And when I do not know I have it, I continue living my life the way I am, thinking I'm good, till it eventually kills me. My heart too. My heart can be sick. My heart can have ailments and diseases. And many times we are not aware of that. A person might think, you know what, I'm a very modest person. He's not modest. Allah knows he's very arrogant. The only reason he's modest is because he does not have any wealth. He does not have any status. And Allah sees his heart is full of arrogance. And that's going to destroy him. And he's unaware of it. Allah wants to bring that out. So he tests this servant. How will he test him? To bring arrogance out, he's going to test him by giving him. Take wealth. Take ideas. Make 20 patents. Be the CEO of a company. And all of a sudden, now this brother becomes what? A CEO. And arrogance shows. What's happening? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us. So that's what inside of my heart comes out. And when I realize that, the message is fix it. Fix it. Fix that problem. It's going to kill you. So when I'm tested, the very first thing I look at, what came out? How was my performance? What did it show me in me? Even when I fail in it. A failure in a test is not bad. When we go for a driver license, and you take the exam and you fail, what happens? They give you another chance. Is that bad? No. And they will keep testing you. Testing you till what? Till you pass. And that is why sometimes a brother is afflicted, but he doesn't get it. Allah afflicts him, but he doesn't see what's going on. So Allah afflicts him again. And he doesn't see, and again, and again. The affliction will only stop when you realize what's going on. And you can see it. And there was a brother in Egypt, and this is a real story. Sad but real. And this brother used to have children, and his child, a month, 2, he dies. And they ask him, are you patient? Yes, I'm patient. He gets a daughter, a month, 2, 3, and she dies. And he gets another son, a month, 2, 3, 4, he dies. And then he got a son, month, 2, year, 2, 3, he's alive. And the man was so happy. Alhamdulillah, that son is enough for me, I'm done. MashaAllah, I'm happy. His son reached 17 years old, and he fell sick, and he died. When that happened, that man went to the roof of the building, and took the medicine, started throwing it in the air. Speaking to Allah, what do you want from me? Don't you have any other kids except my kids? What do you want? And he starts throwing the medicine at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As he's doing this, he fell from the roof and he died. What is the moral of this story? One of us might say, why Ya Allah, why did you do that to him? You know what's going on here? He had something in his heart that Allah saw. He was never content with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was always angry against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah wanted that to be manifested. And when his first kid died, he said, I'm patient. But in reality, he's not. And Allah sees that. And instead of curing himself, he didn't. He continued. So Allah tests him again. And tests him again. And tests him again. Till what's inside comes outside. The purpose of a test, one purpose is to bring what's inside outside. So I can fix it. I want to share with you, and we'll close with this, a spiritual reason. Sometimes, why am I not patient? Why does Allah test us? Why am I suffering in the test? Why? Some people, when they're tested, not only they're not suffering, they're happy. They don't even feel it. Is that true? Yes, it's true. And by the way, that's the sign. When we ask ourselves, how do I know? When a calamity befalls me in my life, is Allah angry at me? How can I tell? And the response of the likes of Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, to know, look at your own response. When you're afflicted with something, what came out? And he says, if you found it's anger, more means, more agitation, more anger, that's a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if what came out, that I'm in pain, it's painful, it is very painful, but I'm trying to be patient. Trying to be patient, showing patience. That is expiation of sins. And if you found what came out is that I am content, I am happy, that means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is elevating you in ranks. Is it possible that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test someone like me and I don't even feel the pain? The test would come and it's daylight for me. I am at ease. That is the concept of rida, being content and happy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, a practical way before I can continue. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us this. He said, من قال في اليوم 3 مرات, whoever in his day 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening would say, رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا كان حقا على الله أن يرضيه. Whoever says 3 times in the day, 3 times in the evening, I accept and I'm content with Allah as my Lord, with Islam as my deen, and Muhammad as my Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it becomes the right on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make that servant content. The question is, am I saying it? If I want to be content in the time of hardship, I should be saying those things in the time of ease. The way I am in the time of ease is going to show in the time of hardship. And here is a more spiritual answer that I hope we can share today. If I was to give you a practical example, and I tell you, what, there is one of our brothers, he has full paralysis, completely paralyzed. May Allah protect all of us. Completely paralyzed, cannot move. Can you take care of him? Can you take him to your house and take care of him? Is that a good deed? Yes. Can I do it? Many of us will say what? Well, I know it's a good deed, but can I do it? No. I can't be patient over that. What does that mean? I have to feed him. I have to clean him. I have to change my car. I have to take care of him. Can I do that? Brother, I cannot be patient over this. Yes, it's good, I understand. But can you do it? No. But the question is even further. Can you do that? And while you're doing that, you are happy? You are not even, you're happy with it. Can you do it while you're thankful? Now you're asking too much, right? Is it possible? Can you see yourself doing this? I look to myself and say, it's very difficult. But I tell you something, most of us sitting here are doing this already. Really? Yes. Those of us who have kids, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a baby, how was it? He was completely unable to do anything. I had to take care of him. I had to give him a bath. I had to change his diaper. I had to change my car and forget sleeping at night. Right? Yet while I'm doing that, am I suffering? No. As a matter of fact, we say he's the coolness of my eye. He is the best thing in my life. Ya Allah, thank you for giving me that baby. What enabled me to be so much patient with that? What made me able to handle this affliction? Somebody else who never experienced love before, never experiential, he didn't taste it, and argues logically, how are you doing this? This is an affliction. I tell him, what are you speaking about? This is my kid, this is not affliction. I love it, and how can you love it? You will only understand if you were given the gift of love. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the kids. The reason we can bear it, the reason we're happy in it, is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the kids, He gave us the provision for it. And the provision for the kids is what? Love. That is our problem. When we're afflicted, hunger. Very simple example. Is hunger bad? If you feel hungry, is it bad? Oh, it's very bad if you don't have food, right? But if I'm hungry and my fridge is full of food, is it bad? No. Alhamdulillah. When I'm hungry, I have provision for it.
The problem is, if I gave you money, and instead of filling your fridge with food, you got your money and spend it elsewhere. And then you feel hunger, and you open your fridge. And what happens? The fridge is empty. What is the problem is not hunger. The problem is, why is your fridge empty? Why didn't you receive the provision? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends an affliction, and for every affliction, there is a provision. If we take the provision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the affliction is no longer affliction. You can completely bear it. إِنَّمَا يُعِينُهُمْ عَلَى حَمْلِ الْبَلَايَا وَارِدَاتِ الْعَطَايَا. What aids a person to bear afflictions is not him. It's not from me, and that's our problem. The reason we fail. Why am I not patient? Because you're relying on yourself. Patience is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When I am afflicted and I fail to be patient, the question is, why did you leave your fridge empty? Why are you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If I attempt to take the affliction by myself, then I will suffer. And I'll finish by a personal example, something that happened to me personally. The one sitting here in front of you. I'm not any special person. Sometimes when we speak about those concepts, people would say, you know what, that's for the companions. That's not for me. I'm not like that. And so, wallahi, sometimes I used to think that for myself, that you know what, I cannot be a person that can show gratitude and rida in front of affliction. I'm too low for this. Until one day, something happened in my own life. And it was one day I was traveling to Egypt, and I was not in a good state even. I was so agitated making my bags, and my kids are playing around me, and I'm like, just leave me alone, I need to, it's 3 hours and I need to leave. And then all of a sudden my son comes and he tells me, Baba, pet me. Pet you? My son is very active, and they're like, what do you mean? Okay, here. And he says, please pet me. He's not normal. And then I look to him, his stomach, and he starts telling me, my stomach is hurting. And I say, okay, you know what, I'll take my daughter, we'll go pray Isha in the masjid. I'll come back, if he's the way he is, I'm going to take him to the emergency room. I go to the masjid, I come back. And I see an ambulance leaving the house. I go inside the house, there is no one there. What happened? And I made a guess, where is the nearest hospital? I took my daughter and I went to the hospital. I go there, I'm saying, I'm so and so. And I mentioned my son's name. And they say, yes, he just came. He's over there. I go and I found him in the emergency room. Doctors running. Nurses running. Emergency. He said, he could not breathe. Your son cannot breathe. And when they called 911. And when they came, immediately they took him to the ER. This is very serious. He cannot breathe. We don't know what's wrong. And I expected, if you tell me, my son is not going to, and he's suffering in pain. If I know me, I would collapse. I cannot take this. Wallahi, I'm telling you, I cannot take this. The sight of my son in pain, unable to breathe, what's going to happen? Is he going to die? You know how hard it is? And the doctor comes and says, we don't know what's wrong. But I look into my heart, and subhanallah, I'm calm. And I'm like, strange. I'm not panicking. I'm very tranquil. I'm very content. And I'm saying, what is that? It's a very strange feeling. And I feel even if he dies, I'm okay. And then that's a strange feeling. What's going on here? And then the doctor comes, and the doctor was agitated. He sees me so calm. And the doctor is, by the way, this is very serious. And then I know. And you might say I'm the father. I look to the mother. The mother is more attached to the son. And she tells me, I'm so serene. I'm making dua that Allah puts rahmah in the hearts of the doctors. I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden the doctor comes and says, that's it. We don't know what's wrong. He has to go onto a ventilator. And you know what a ventilator is. And he puts him on a ventilator. Tubes in the mouth, tubes in the nose. He has to complete sedation. We don't know what's wrong. And he's breathing now by a machine. He can't breathe. And we have to send him, in the special rooms, and like the curtains, and we do. And I'm very serene. And then what's going on? And then I take my daughter, and that's the lesson I'm speaking about. And she buys a balloon, a fire truck helium balloon. Right? And she ties it to the bed of my son, who's completely now sedated. Every now and then he would wake up, zong back out. And then I'm of course beside him. I'm beside him. He's my son. I love him so much. And then he wakes up. And then he looks up and he sees the balloon. He sees the balloon, the helium balloon in his... And you know what he did? He smiled and he pointed to the balloon. Now when he did that, what do you think I did? You want the balloon? Take it. Take it, of course. Here, what else? Anything you want. Anything you ask for, I'm going to give you. And then I told myself, look at this. 2 hours ago, I was so agitated from him playing around me. Now, I would do anything for him. If he was to ask, I'll give him. If he was to ask me, and look how near I am to him, how dear he is to my heart because he's suffering. When I see tubes in his mouth, and he points to them, he looks at me, unable to talk, he points to the tube at his mouth, complaining. And I feel I wish I can remove it. And you know how a father feels and a mother feels, I would do anything for you. Ask. And then I said, Subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves his servant more than a mother loves her kid. And when my kid is in such kind of an affliction, look how close I am to him. And look how ready I am to respond to anything he asks. And then I said, Ya Allah, you see the affliction I'm in. You see that my son is sick. You see my need. You see that my heart is going to tear apart because I love him. When you see me in that kind of pain, and you love your servant more than a mother with her kid, it means Allah is so near to me now. What do you mean to tell me? This is the moment that Allah might be the nearest to me in my entire life. Right now. And I was like, Subhanallah. And then it occurred to me, if I was to ask now, what happens? Like my kid, imagine, and I thought, imagine if he wakes up, and instead of pointing to the balloon, he told me, Baba, I want one thing. I'll tell him anything you want. And he said, please forgive me, because I was not a good kid for you. What will come out from my heart? In that condition, and what you care for is what? Instead of telling me, help me, you told me, forgive. Of course I will forgive you. You think what will come out from my heart in this moment? And then I said, Subhanallah, if in this affliction, while I'm in that affliction, I turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and told him, Ya Allah, I can say, please cure my son. But instead, Ya Allah, please forgive me. Please forgive him. If my son in that position, instead of asking for the balloon, said, Baba, please get a gift for Aisha, my daughter. What do you think I'll do? I'll tell him no? In that moment, while you are in this position, and you are thinking of your sister, this request will be granted. Will be granted. Of course, I'll give her anything. You just ask. And I started to say, Subhanallah, if in the midst of the darkness of this calamity, I just raised my hands and said, Ya Allah, please help our brothers in Iraq. Help our brothers in Palestine. Allah sees me in the midst of my affliction, making dua for the homeless. You think Allah is not going to respond? Not only will Allah respond, how will He treat me? How close will I be to Him? And I started the nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My thoughts were completely in, how can I thank? How can I take maximum opportunity? I started, I need to pray. I need to be in dhikr. This is nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I remember those were some of the best nights in my life. Ever. I couldn't sleep that night. Wallahi, I couldn't sleep that night. Praying, making dua. And it was the California fires. Remember the California fires? Out of the hospital I can see the fires beside my house, and I start making dua for the people. And it was one of the best experiences I ever had. What is the lesson? It didn't come from me. It's not because I'm good. And I started saying, Ya Allah, that is a gift. And I started to ask the question, why? Why, Ya Allah? Why me? But the question was, why do good things like this happen to bad people like me? And the answer is because He's generous. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I came out from that experience assured, if Allah gives the like of me this, He can forgive all your sins. Wallahi, I'm telling you, my hope in Allah multiplied. All of you can be forgiven. If the likes of me can be given this, the likes of you can be given even more. Do not despair from the mercy of Allah. And I realized what made me able to bear the affliction was what? That I saw Allah's nearness. When I am in sight of Allah and His presence and His nearness, when His light enters my heart, there is no affliction anymore. The reason we suffer is we are veiled from seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When I attempt to bear the affliction by me, I fail. When I'm alone in the journey of this life, I fail. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all along is offering me, don't take this journey alone. I want to be your wakil. I want to be your wali. I want to be with you. And if that's the case, there is no affliction. Ibn Ata'illah Secondary summarizes all what I said in those two short sentences. Number one, ما تجده القلوب من الهموم والأحزان فلأجل ما فقدت من وجود العيان. The pain, the anxiety, the sadness that the heart experiences is because it is veiled from seeing the divine. This veil is what causes me pain. He says, النعيم وإن تنوعت مظاهره فهو بشهوده واقترابه والعذاب وإن تنوعت مظاهره فهو لوجود حجابه فسبب العذاب وجود الحجاب وتمام النعيم بالنظر إلى وجه الكريم. Translation: blessings, enlightenment, ease, happiness, joy, even if its ways are multifold, so many ways, its essence is being in sight and close to the divine. Pain, anxiety, sadness, even if its methods are multiple in this life, its core essence is the existence of a veil between my heart and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm by myself, I'm alone. I'm away from Him, I do not see Him. And He says the essence of pain is the existence of the veil. And the utmost pleasure is when we get and we are granted the sight of the most generous in the hereafter. And isn't that true? That is the essence, if you will, why we suffer from a spiritual perspective. Because we do not see who's afflicting us. We are not aware of Allah's presence. Our heart is veiled from Him. We do not receive His gift. Our fridge is empty. We live our life far from Him. So when an affliction comes, we discover, I don't have anything. My heart is empty. Patience is not from me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاصْبِرْ وَمَا صَبْرَكَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. Have patience. And your patience is not except by Allah, with Allah, not from you. Do not think that you can bear the affliction alone. And I understand. I'm telling you this right now. Look, the mother, if something amazing happened to her, she was in such a bliss while my son is sick. And she was, at the time, she was the head of the Sunday school in our masjid. And she had to skip Sunday school. And the board of the masjid came to the Sunday school. It was a chaos there. And you know what happened? She came and told me, this is crazy. And they were telling her what was going on. She said, my son is about to die in the hospital. And I'm okay. Completely okay. And I hear that the board of the masjid came to the Sunday school and it was a mess. And I have chest pains. I have anxiety. I'm panicking. I can't take it. How can that be? I'm patient over my son and I'm not patient over something as no comparison. Wow, what's going on? And the answer is very simple. That tribulation Allah carried from you. You didn't feel it. The other one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left you for yourself and you felt the pain. The lesson of this is what? Don't wait. We do not wait till an affliction happens and why am I not patient? From now on, the opportunity is now. When I am free, when I am at the time of ease, my concern is, am I close enough to Allah? So when the affliction happens, I'm by Him. I'm with His light. If that's the case, there is no affliction. The Prophet summed it up. عَجَبًا لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ. Amazing is the affair of the believer. And that's the meaning of the hadith. When something bad happens to him, he is patient. He has the provision for it. So it becomes good for him. When something good happens to him, he has the provision from Allah for it. He's thankful. And that is good for him. Everything becomes good for that person. Everything. Every single thing. Summary. What can we go out with from all this? Practical things to do. What did we say today? We have to live life the way it is. Not with the wrong premise. Life is temporary. Everything is going to go away. That means every single moment I should be grateful for. Grateful for my kids. Grateful for my parents. Grateful that I'm safe in this masjid today. And that will help me bear the affliction. And I should expect everything will change. I live that way. 2, I do not own anything. Including my kids. Including my father. Including my body parts. I do not own any of them. They are blessings given to me. I should be thankful for them. Allah can take them anytime. I always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove affliction from me and thank Him for what He gives me. Nothing is mine. My place, my country. People tell us, oh Arabs, go back home where you belong. And sometimes I would respond by saying, I'm trying. Wallahi, I'm trying. Because this is not my home. This is not my home. My home is Jannah. That you were born over this piece of dirt makes it yours? You think this is your country? You know how ridiculous that is? You think you own it because you were born on it. It's not yours. It is not mine. My house is Jannah. I live looking at Jannah. We are not patient because we don't have ihtisab. We are patient over tribulations, going to school, going to a PhD program. Why? Because we see what the outcome is. Did we think of Jannah? Do we know what lays ahead in Jannah? Are we living in it? Are we imagining it? If we're not imagining it, if we're not imagining our home, if we do not focus on our home, this becomes my home. And when it's taken away from me, I collapse. But when my home is Jannah, you want to take this, take it. As long as I have Jannah, I'm okay. As long as I'm saying La ilaha illallah, I'm okay. As long as I am following the Prophet, I'm okay. As long as I have the love of the Prophet, I'm okay. I'm okay. We start making dua. Remember, La ilaha illallah al-haqqul mubin 100 times. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening. Now, do not wait, do it now. And the person might say, oh brother, I keep making dua, but the affliction is not removed. Why? A person one time had an affliction in his life. 20 years making dua. Ya Rabb, Ya Allah, please, please, please. Nothing happens. And the person mocked him. He went by, why are you making dua? He said, I want Allah to remove the affliction. You've been making dua for 20 years. You've been asking Allah for 20 years. Nothing happened. And that person said, he has a point. Nothing happened. Why am I? And he said, you know what? Let me stop. Maybe Allah's angry. Allah's not responding for me. Where I've been doing the dua, no response. And he slept. And he saw in the dream, he was called on. Why did you stop making dua? We don't hear your voice anymore. And he said, I've been asking. I've been making dua for 20 years. No response. I didn't get anything. And he was told the following. You making dua for 20 years is your response. You understand that? You making, what did you say? You've been making dua for how long? 20 years of dua. That is better than what you've been asking for. Allah responded to you already, but you didn't even realize. You get it? So we say those things, we say our adhkar, we say our dua, never give up. In the face of affliction, now, the third point is what? The concept of patience is not from me. Therefore, I have to beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, grant me patience. Ya Allah, grant me thankfulness. Ya Allah, do not leave me alone. In aqamaka thabat, wa in qumta bi nafsika saqat. Abu Madian used to say, if Allah makes you stand up, you'll never fall. And if He lets you fall, if He leaves you to yourself, you'll always fall. I want to be by Allah. Never, ever by myself, Ya Allah. Don't leave me to myself. The dua of the Prophet. Ya Arhamar Rahimin, when he begs Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Birahmatika astaghith, with your mercy do I plead, La takilni ila nafsi tarfat ayn wala li ahad min khalqik. Do not leave me to myself the blink of an eye, or to any of your creation. I need to show that. I need to admit that I'm weak. I'm weak. The final point. Life is a test, and the test is to bring what's in my heart out. What does that mean? What is the practical impact of that? I do not have to wait for Allah to test me to discover that my heart is ill. From now on, I start by saying, my heart is already ill. Ya Allah, I have illness. I start by admitting that, Allahumma tahhir qalbi min maswak. Oh Allah, purify my heart. I start now. Now, do not live this life thinking, I don't have envy. I'm patient. I'm not arrogant. How do you know? How do you know? Rather, ask Allah and name them. Purify my heart from envy. Purify my heart from arrogance. Purify my heart from miserness. Purify my heart from everything other than you. Even in the time of ease. يعني أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to elevate bala. We never wish for it. We never wish for tribulation. I'm weaker than to handle it. We always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for afwa and afiyah. May Allah make us all safe. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove adversities and calamities from our life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attract us to Him through ihsan. Through ihsan, that we realize His ni'am, not through tribulation. And if you have any question or any reflections, maybe in 5 minutes or so, I'm ready to take them, inshallah. It's up to you, inshallah. Yes, please. Oh, what a question. What a question. Complain. Sometimes when an affliction happens, you want to complain. Right? There are levels, sister. Wallahi, there are levels. And Ibn al-Qayyim says the following. When somebody is afflicted, people are of 3 types. Type number 1, he starts complaining to people. And you know what's the problem? They cannot help you. You're complaining to those who are themselves afflicted. You are drowning and they're drowning too. And they're not merciful and they don't even like it. They don't like it. So that's level number 1. You see nothing, you complain about Allah to people. And that's not recommended. We do not do that. It's different than seeking advice. It is different. This is different than, I'm not patient, I'm suffering, what can I do? This is not what I'm speaking about. Complain is when we complain. Look what's happening in my life. Life is miserable. I am this. Look at Egypt. Look at the United States. What blah blah blah. We start complaining. Ingratitude. We do not do that. The second level is people that starts to complain to Allah from what people did to them, from the creation. Ya Allah, look what they did to me at work. Ya Allah, look how people are treating me harshly. Look what he did to me. Look what she did to me. Look what my husband did to me. So I'm complaining to Allah from the creation. And Allah loves that. And the third level, and I hope we reach that, is people that they realize the essence of it, is me. People that complain to Allah from themselves. Ya Allah, to you I complain, I'm not patient. To you I complain, you are the nearest thing to me. What is keeping me away from you? You're the one that gives and showers with generosity. And I'm the one that takes your gifts and translates them into ugly deeds. I'm the one that's in need of you, yet I'm away from you. What is holding me? I complain to you from me, from my nafs, from my character, from my chains, from what I did to myself, from my oppression. And Allah loves that. He loves it. Allah, do you understand? Allah loves that. And it brings a person closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because in it I'm admitting my own weakness. خير أوقاتك الوقت الذي تشهد فيه وجود فاقتك وترد فيه إلى وجود ذلتك. The best of your times, scholars said that, Ibn Ata'illah secondary, the best of your times is the time that you return back to your original state of complete brokenness, humility, poverty, worthlessness. That is being broken in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the highest ibadah ever one can attain. So do complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course. And focus on complain of the real thing. Me, my nafs, my ego, my hawa, myself, I'm far from you. ماذا وجد من فقد وماذا فقد من وجدك. What has he found, the one that lost you? And what did he lose, the one that found you? I hope that's a good answer, inshallah. No other reflections? I can benefit from your reflections as well. And feel free after we finish, if you have anything you want to tell me, if I did say something wrong, please let me know. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاكم الله كل خير.